Now, here's the thing we really, really want you to hear. And if you can get this, you'll have it all. The vortex of creation, where the vibrational version of you is present tense, as far as the creator within you and as far as we are concerned. When you ask for it, it's present tense. But you, bless your hearts, you've gotten so good at exploring the manifestation that you don't want to call it present tense until it's in your driveway. You don't want to call it present tense until others can see it. And we say, oh, it's so slow to have to wait for everybody to be able to see it. It's easy to tune in to stuff that's manifested. So what preachers and teachers have been saying to you for a long time about faith really applies here. Because what faith is a vibrational attitude. What faith is an awareness, a vibrational focus, an attention to what's in this vortex of creation. And if you can focus upon what you've asked for and no longer beat the drum of why you ask for it. I want this magnificent thing because it's so awful not to have it. And because it's so hard over here without it. And because I deserve it, I really deserve it, even though I don't have it, I deserve it. And we say all of that drum beating from the perspective of what is not yet manifested holds you in a holding pattern that will not let it manifest. You have to let go of the absence of what you want before the presence of it can feel into your experience, you see. We want you to feel the reality of this vortex of creation. This is vibrational reality. We're not making this stuff up. Everything that you see that is manifested was first vibrational reality. And once it's been vibrational reality, everything that you see is first a thought upon longer until it takes form. Everything that you see that is manifested was first vibration. And the gap, the amount of time that it takes from the offering of the idea and flowing it vibrationally into your vortex and the full-fledged manifestation of it is as short as no time when you are a vibrational match to what you're asking for. The amount of time it takes for you to manifest things wanted is the amount of time it takes for you to get in the vortex and consistently stay there. Most people have trained themselves. You have patterns of thought about money. You have patterns of thought about your body. You have patterns of thought about teachers. You have patterns of thought about government. You have patterns of thought about ecology. You have patterns of thought about medicine. You have patterns of thought about animals. You have patterns of thought about cats. You have patterns of thoughts about dogs. Some of you like dogs and don't like cats. Some of you like cats and don't like dogs. You have patterns of thoughts about all kinds of things. A pattern of thought just meaning a thought that you thought, maybe your mother thought it and she thought it and spoke it and then you thought it and listened, and then it doesn't matter where the thought got started, but you've got an active vibration about a lot of different subjects. So, let's say your active vibration about the subject of something that you want improvement in. Let's say your active thought is that we are in the middle of a financial crisis. And let's say that your active thought is that costs are going up and incomes are going down and the government is trying to fix it, but there are so many moving parts that even the best of them are in a state of confusion. And so that's your active thought, that you've talked about it, you've thought about it, you've listened, you've reasoned it out. That's your active thought. Well, it takes discipline to think a different thought. And many people would say, it's not just that it takes discipline to think an improved thought, Abraham. I don't want to think an improved thought because I've been trained to tell it like it is. I've been trained to face reality, to tell the truth. So now this vibration, this reason that it's harder to think a different thought has many layers of reasons. My mother told me to always tell her exactly the truth. And I don't always do it, but I feel guilty every time I don't. So I've trained myself into this thought, and now it's difficult to think a thought that's different. And we want to say, oh, hear this. The only reason that it's harder to think the optimistic thought about the subject that you've been pessimistic about is because the habit of thought has a vibration active within you, and law of attraction's holding you there. Law of attraction's holding you there. Law of attraction's giving you other thoughts that match it. Law of attraction's bringing you to people who think the same thing. Law of attraction's bringing evidence to you to support your belief. In other words, of course it's hard because reality has been formulating around it, and you believe your reality. And oh, did you just hear that? You believe that reality, and we want you to believe this reality. We want you to believe the vibrational reality. We want you to believe the reality of the whole of you, you see. And when these two realities merge, and the only way this is so good. The only way these two realities can merge is if you come this way into your vortex, because your vortex is never going to merge with this reality. If the source within you would merge with sickness, your planet would be sick and dead soon. If the source within you would merge with economic decline, it would be over for you. In other words, there would be endedness, but that's not ever going to happen because the whole system is such that the source within you holds the leading edge position that is achieved by your asking from the contrast that you live. Are you getting that? When you know what you don't want, you ask for improvement, and improvement becomes the new order of the day. And the new ones being born and all the new energy coming in all come from that vantage point. We've all got a perpetual well-being thing going on here that no matter how negative any one of you get, you cannot disrupt the system. All you can do is pinch yourself off and have an unpleasant time for a while until you croak, and then you're right back in the game again. As your children are born, you say, I've been here longer and I know how bad it can be. You're fresh and new and naive, but I see it as my job to change that as quickly as possible. A lot of bad things have happened to me, and I've written them all down here. And a lot of bad things that haven't happened to me have happened to other people. I've written them all down too. And so now I will help you guard yourself from all of these unwanted things. And what most humans do not realize is that in every moment of every bit of that, all they are doing is holding themselves apart from the vibrational reality that is full of all of their requests and is sustained by the energy that creates worlds, by that which man calls God, by that which is the source of all that is good, that remains there for you, surrounding everything that you want and the larger part of you, summoning you all day, every day into it, calling you, calling you, calling you. And when you answer that call, when you move in the direction of that, you feel the relief of releasing the resistance. With every particle of resistance that you release, with every bit of movement toward who you really are, you feel yourself blossoming and blooming and becoming that being that you have already become, vibrationally speaking. Everything that you want is in this vortex of creation. Now, we've spoken it vibrationally, which is a little less comfortable for you to hear. Now we're going to break it down and give you the same seminar that we just gave you in physical terms. You can't focus on what you don't want and get what you do want at the same time. It's one or the other. And whatever you're focused upon, you're practicing the vibration of, and it's becoming very vivid in your vibration, and law of attraction is giving you what you think about whether you want it or not. When you think about what you don't want, or even better stated, when you think of less than what you do want, you won't feel as good as you can feel. When you think about what you want, even if it hasn't manifested, you'll feel great. Did we convince you that there is a vortex of creation? And do you accept that you are vibrational beings? Because that is the basis of the understanding of this gathering. You have to accept that you are vibration first and foremost. You are so good at your physical translation, and this reality that you call real life reality is so vivid with all that you can see and hear and smell and taste and feel about it. In other words, it's vivid, and we know it's intoxicating. We know it's addictive. We know it's compelling. We know that it's enticing. We know that in most cases it has your full attention. But we want to make a very strong point at the beginning here today, that if you're tuned to see so vividly only what you can translate through your physical senses, and if you are unwilling to try to understand what's going on over here in this vortex of creation, we get why reality is more interesting to you than vibrational reality. Because reality has manifested, meaning you can see it, hear it, smell it, taste it, touch it. But we want you to understand that you have the ability to see what's going on over here in this vibrational reality. It's just a different lens that you will use to see it at first. And it's the lens of your emotions. You're going to feel your way forward into, hear it, here's the most important thing you'll hear us say all day, into this present tense vibrational reality. That's the thing we so want you to hear. This is the present tense. Now, many of you say, Abraham, come on, give me a break. How can you be calling present tense something that hasn't manifested yet? I want to call that, from where I stand over here in my physical body, future, my future experience. And we say, but the problem with that is, all of your power is now. All of your point of attraction is now. All of your vibrating is now. All of your beating the drum that activates the thought that equals your point of attraction, all of that is happening right here and now. When you release resistance, you release the only thing that is holding you apart from what you want. The difference is, so many humans aren't willing to release resistance until the help comes. They say, I want to be over there. And we say, what's over there? And they say, I don't know, I'm over here. We say, well, what would it be like over there? I don't know, I'm over here. Well, try to think about what it's like over there. I can't. I'm so unhappy about what's over here. We say, well, if you could just think about what's over there, you could shift the way you feel. And then vibrationally speaking, you'll be over there, and then everything else will follow. Now, bring it to me while I'm over here, and then I'll go over there. That's sort of what most people say. Show it to me. Show me the money. Show it to me, and then I will have a emotional response to what is. And we say, that really is the opposite of what the art of allowing is. The art of allowing is finding a way of allowing alignment regardless of what's going on in reality. It's also what unconditional love is. I'm going to find alignment with the love that is me, regardless of the condition that's going on. I'm going to discover unconditional love. I'm going to discover unconditional alignment. I'm going to discover unconditional releasing of resistance. I'm just going to let it go because it doesn't feel good. I'm going to let it go because it doesn't feel good. But you know, we've never seen anyone that could let something go without finding something else. When you say, I'm not going to think about that thing that I'm thinking about anymore, you're thinking about that thing that you're not going to think about anymore. And then you say to your friend, help me not think about this. About what? About that. I don't want to think about that anymore. Why don't you want to think about that? Because it doesn't feel good when I think about it. Well, what's wrong with thinking about it? Well, it just doesn't feel good. And when I think about that, it keeps me from what I want. Well, then you shouldn't think about that. I know I'm trying not to think about that, but I'm thinking about that. I wish I didn't think about that. If that thing wasn't so big. You know, that thing's been there for so long. Have I told you how long that's been there? That's been dogging me for as long as I can remember. And the more you talk about what you're not going to think about, the bigger it gets, and the more you use it as your excuse not to go into the vortex. Where if instead of not thinking about that thing you're not going to think about, which just causes you to think about that thing that you're not going to think about, you would try to think about something else. So then you say, okay, then I'll think about that. But that, way over there, is too far vibrationally apart. In other words, you've trained yourself over here. This is what's easy to think about because this is what's active in your vibration. So we want you to be nice to yourselves when you say, I'm thinking about this, but I'm not thinking about it as much. And I can't think about that because I've trained myself to think about this. What you want to do is think about this a little closer to what you really want. Think about this. In other words, move incrementally. Just reach for the best feeling thought that you can find from where you are until you train yourself into the vicinity of your vortex. And so what we really want to say to you in a way that we think you can hear it now more clearly than ever before is all of these processes that we offer were for the sake of sort of training your ability to focus. In other words, to show you that you have the ability of complaining or praising, that you have the ability of leaning negative or leaning positive. That you have options, and you've shown yourself that you have those options. But now, the emphasis that we are really encouraging to you, and we spoke about this earlier, is use any excuse in the world that you can to get in the vortex. Don't stand outside the vortex with your issue, determined that you're going to fix this issue so that you can get in the vortex. Instead, use any